All right. So today you are going to be at home working on two things. You are going to be working on your outline for your story. We've been working on that one for a day and a half now, I would say. So make sure that you finish that one up. And then down below here is going to be your goal assignment. This is going to be where you are going to pick out the goals that you want to cover for your own writing. And so I'm going to go over these and then you're going to highlight three of them that you would like to um, do for your assignment. Now remember that these are going to get graded, or you're going to get graded your final project, and you're going to have to be able to defend yourself and defend your story based on these writing goals that you pick out. Okay, so make sure that they are ones that you really want to focus on. So this first one here is gaining the reader's attention. So if you're doing a short narrative, you have to gain the reader's attention somehow. And we'll talk more about this later on for beginnings of stories, but basically, if you're going to be able to introduce the ideas, the point of view, and the narrator and the characters in some sort of attention-grabbing way, that's what you're going to do. I will give you some pointers for this, but if you're someone who wants to, focus on the beginning of your story and be able to defend, like, hey, my story hooks the reader's attention, and this is how it does it, and then going from there. Okay. So if you're one that wants to do this one, I would highlight that one. Next one is I can organize events in a narrative that are natural and are logical. So I would say that if you're doing a personal narrative, that I would not do this one. I think because it's already happened. If you're creating your own story, this one would be a good one to do, especially for the logical and natural part. This is where we'll be talking about like flashbacks and flash forwards, and if you need those in your story. And when it says logical, it means that everything makes sense. Everything, everything happens for a reason. Stuff doesn't come out of nowhere. I'm able to understand it. I'm not asking myself, wait, what happened just now? Those kind of things. So that is organizing events in a narrative that are natural and are logical. If you're doing a personal narrative, stay away from this one. Okay? If you're doing a fiction one where it's your own story, use this one. Okay? Now, these two here. We've been talking about character-driven plots and plot-driven plots. So, whichever one you're doing, I would choose that one. Okay? Characters. I can develop characters by using dialogue and using descriptive words. So this is what we call that showing versus telling. Instead of telling your audience that your character is this whatever he or she is, show us through their description, through their dialogue, how they talk, how they act, how they behave. If your character is a creeper, let's just say that, don't just say, he's a creeper. Show that character being a creeper. Maybe he walks up to a person and says something really creepy. That's showing versus telling. Okay? So showing versus telling for this one. This one is developing the plot using dialogue, pacing, and descriptive words. This one is going to be more for your action story, your suspense ones, the ones that are going to make your audience hang on to the edge of their seats. And so when we talk about pacing, we're going to talk about moving slowly or moving quickly through a text and how you're able to make a reader feel like it's moving a lot quicker or moving a lot more slowly. Okay? And then also using dialogue to help move the plot along. And then, so this is going to be a lot of dialogue exposition. So, for example, if you're going to do that story about kids finding a dead body and then they meet the person who killed them and they have a conversation, That's going to help move the story along. If you go to the cops, I know where you live, I know where your family lives, and you won't have one anymore. Something like that. Whatever the dialogue is going to be there. That adds tension. That moves a story along. That's how you do that. Okay. Pacing, quickly, slowly. I'll talk about how to do that. But if you are in a action-packed running, chasing scene, you want your text to be able to move quickly through that part. And if you need to slow it down, have a breather, there's ways to do that as well. Okay. Next one here, I can use. There we go. Different types of transitions to go from scene to scene, setting to setting, or chapter to chapter, so the audience can follow along. For a short story, you're probably gonna be able to go from scene to scene or setting to setting. So you might have actual breaks between character and character. Some of you might just have to go the next day or whatever those might be. Not only, this isn't just doing it, but also being able to identify it in your own writing and go, yeah, I maybe didn't purposely do this, but now that I'm looking back on it, I can see that there are transitions there, okay? The next one here, I can use words and phrases as well as descriptive words and sensory images to reveal the action and experiences of the story. So this isn't just necessarily one scene. I think this is the hardest part for kids to do when they are editing and revising, is that if they need to do this goal, then they tend to do it for one scene in their story. Everything else has been summarized. Everything else is kind of bland. But then there's this one scene where we get a lot of sensory images, what they see, smell, taste, touch, and the other one, and they're very descriptive, and it just feels like it was written at a different time. And so making sure that all flows together, is all descriptive. It feels like it's one person writing it at one time. That is kind of the end goal for this one. So if you want to work on that and work on your sensory images, this would be the one to go with. And then next one, I can write a conclusion that reflects on the experiences and events shared in the story. So this one kind of goes up with that logical one. So if you're going to do one or the other, this one is more for a personal narrative though. So that way, again, you want a personal narrative usually teaches something. And so what did you learn in your personal narrative that you can then teach with the world? Or what did your characters learn? Whatever it might be. And then this one, I can write a conclusion that is appropriate or logical for the story that followed before it. So let's just say you have this kind of crazy ending, or you have this really weird ending. Can you justify having it in your story? Does it make sense based on everything else that has gone on, and are you okay with that? And so that'll be kind of what you do for that one. So again, you got two things that you need to be doing. One, finish your outline. Again, the more work you put in now, the less work you got to put in later. And two, pick out three of these. Pick out three that you're going to focus on, okay? And then what we'll actually do with these is that I will have you copy and paste those to the top of your document. So that way you remember every single day, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is what I got to make sure that I do. If you have any questions tomorrow, send me an email. I can have some office hours. We can meet on Google Meet. All that good stuff. All right. Thank you.